Hello, everybody. My name is Jim Farmer. I'm the festival director of Out on Film, Atlanta's LGBTQ film festival. This is our 38th year, and we have an amazing lineup. I'm so proud of what we're showing this year. One of our centerpiece screenings is Exit Interviews, which is making its Southeastern debut here, directed by Garrett Abdo, shot here in Atlanta. I'm going to introduce Garrett and everybody, so much of this amazing cast in a moment, but let me read a quick introduction. In Garrett Abdo's sexy, sweet debut feature, filmed in Atlanta, Tuc Watkins plays Robert, a middle-aged gay man who begins a personal documentary project following his long history of failed relationships. As a professional but emotionally vulnerable individual, Robert decides to interview 6 of his ex-boyfriends, each of whom represents a distinct chapter in his love life. His ultimate goal is to find out why these relationships ended and to use the documentary as a means of personal growth, or so he believes. Again, thank you all so much. Do we want to go around the room and just let everybody introduce themselves? We'll go with Garrett, Tuck, and then everyone else can do.
Sure, I'm Garrett Abdo, the writer, producer, director.
I'm Tuc Watkins. I play Robert.
I'm Kiana Dancy, and I play Patty.
I'm Chad
I'm
Now. I play
Dekker.
Michael. Go
Oh,
ahead. I can't tell who's who.
I know me either. I'm Thomas Dekker. I play Joseph.
And I'm Chad Now. I play Michael.
I'm Nick Hagelin. I play Travis.
I'm Adam Huss. I play Chris.
And Ozzy.
And I'm Ozzy Silvera. I'm the director of photography of the film.
Oh, great.
And I'm Summer Rain Menke. I'm the sister Deborah on the phone.
Great. Thank you all so much for taking the time to do this. I love this film. So we'll start with Garrett. Just talk a little bit about making this film and what prompted it.
It was a story that I had to tell. I had to get it out. And honestly, it was a very emotional one to write. You really have to dig deep into yourself to sit across from a fictional version of yourself and criticize that fictional version of yourself, because you're coming from experience, you're coming from what you actually felt and emotions that you felt. I like to say that the characters themselves aren't real people, but the emotions that I felt with those characters and the emotions that those characters, especially what the actors brought to those characters, are real, and I think what we all experience. I like to think of the film as a mirror for the audience. I think every human being on the planet has gone through one or two or more of these emotions that we dive into and have sat on both sides of this interview table at one time or another.
All right.
So I just had to get it out, and I did. I wrote it in October. We shot it in January, which is insane. We would have been done earlier than June, which is when we finished editing. But Matthew, our editor, had another big project come along, so we had to take a back burner for about 8 weeks. Otherwise, we would have been done even sooner than that. It came incredibly fast, and to have this incredible cast come on board and dedicate themselves was literally the joy of a lifetime. I'm just sitting here looking at my phone, about to cry. I'm so happy. You guys did such incredible work, and there's Ray now too. Hello, Ray Santiago.
Good morning.
This is literally everybody. I think. I don't think I think we're missing Paul. Other than that, I think we've got the entire cast here, which is fantastic.
Thank you all so much. That's my very loud dog. Anyway, Garrett, congratulations. Talk to me a little bit about Robert and Robert's journey.
When Garrett first called about this, and I read the script, I thought it's always tempting to play the lead in a movie, isn't it? Even if you're not an actor, doesn't want to play the lead in a movie? But I thought it would be difficult to play a guy that I thought had a lot of unlikable qualities.
Yeah.
And still try to make you root for him. So I wanted to give that a shot.
Okay. Let's talk to some other cast members and just tell me briefly a little bit about your characters. Nick, tell us about your character.
I played Travis, who has a nice relationship with Robert, and I think when I got to sit and watch the film, I think Travis brings in a little bit more of a sensitivity. The you'll see the film just sort of comes out the gate. There's all this amazing humor with Ray and Tuck, and the way that they, you get to see this sort of like spicy relationship that they have. And then I enjoyed sort of watching how Travis and Robert played out, where I think there's that sort of hope, that exploration of, the one that got away, or love that could have been, or right person, wrong time, that kind of thing. So I'm a good old country boy who struggled. I play a good old, country boy who struggled with yeah, his, father's approval and things like that, not being accepted for his sexuality. And so it's really nice to see what came together, and such a pleasure to work with Tuck and Garrett's writing, and then see it all come to fruition.
Great. Thomas.
I play Joseph, and Joseph and Robert's relationship, is of course also in the rear view. And what I loved about their little storyline was the simplicity of it, and the lack of immense drama, and the lack of immense complex narrative. It felt very real. They were a couple. They liked each other very much, and they just wanted different things. And Joseph is kind of, I think, more at peace with all of it in a way than Robert is. And I liked, it was a pleasure and a challenge to just find a truth in this simple conversation. And I loved that it didn't have to get into any kind of big, um, overt acty territory. Tuck and I just got to kind of sit and be with the words, and that was the joy of making this for me.
Adam.
Hey, yeah, I'm Adam. I play Chris, and yeah, I think, one thing that I thought the script explored really well, and we don't see that a lot in film, or TV shows directly, is just codependency, and how a lot of people can mistake that love for, codependency for love, and love for codependency. And I thought that was very interesting. That even though Chris is saying a lot of the same themes that like his other exes say to him in these exit interviews, it's like Tuck's character didn't realize all that maybe until he hears it through the same thing over and over again. We can play out these things we learn in our home, and for me, like a lot of gay men, I am bi, gay, queer, whatever, and I know that I had a lot of, like, growing up, I had a lot of, I needed to be saved, and I also then thought I needed to save people. And so to play that out in so many relationships till I found the person that I could stop doing that with and love in a healthy way, it took a long time. And so since Chris is sort of one of his first loves, I thought it was very interesting that they tackle that head on, that like we both screwed up, it was you, wasn't me. And it's hard to say that. It's hard for someone like Garrett, I'm sure, to write that when it's coming from personal experiences, but you can look at it and say, we both screwed up, and then this is how we got here. And so I really thought it was such a beautiful arc in that 10-15 minute scene. And when I read it, I was really excited to get to play that.
Great. Raymond.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Everyone looks so good for Monday morning, I gotta say. Um, I think playing Santi for me was, I don't know, I've been acting for like over 25 years, and I very rarely get the chance to have a romantic relationship on camera, especially with men. I think there's only been one other guy that I've ever had that kind of interaction with on camera, and it's Thomas Dekker. Randomly enough. But with Santi, to have the opportunity to dive into this challenge of speaking in Spanish for most of the film, to be able to play gay, and to play gay with Tuck, it sounded like fun, and it sounded like a challenge. And I think I'm used to like working in like TV and film where they put you in this box where you kind of can't play. And there's something about indie movies where you kind of take a chance and you show up and you don't know what's going to happen and you might leave fulfilled. And this is one of those films where I really felt so fulfilled by the work that we did and kind of proud because it was just like tornado and whirlwind that just happened and unfolded. And so to be able to bring to life this like undocumented, passionate, sexual being who's just looking for like love, stability, and a place for life to grow, and to kind of play with the idea of, well, does he really love him or does he just want the papers? You know, was for me something that I really, really wanted to play with, and I'm happy I did. Sorry.
Did Ray just say that he and Thomas dated in real life?
No, we played boyfriends on a TV show where we kissed, but they hit it with a kite.
Never mind. I'm not interested anymore.
Chad,
carry on, Jim.
Ray, I thought you were Super Mario joining us today. Sorry.
Oh, wow. You know, that's the one way to get me to not like you is to call me Mario or Luigi. So take that. Sorry, it's 8:30 in the morning and I just came back from the gym. So
let's hear from Chad.
It was just fun to get to play somebody who's very confident and asking somebody out, because I would never do that. I would never walk up to somebody and just be like, "Hey, we're gonna go grab dinner." And I avoid conflict at all points. So like I would have just, if he hadn't called me back, I would have just ghosted him and wrote a screenplay about him, which would kill him off. And that's what I would do.
Oh, wow.
Really fun to get to play somebody who's very confident.
And let's hear from Summer and Kiana.
I'll jump in. So first of all, I'm at the place in my life. I don't remember the question. And also I need glasses. I'm getting old. So what was the question?
Just tell me a little bit about your character.
Oh, my name is Patty, and I played Patty, and I was the sassy girlfriend who kept it real with him. And listen, it was a privilege to not only play Patty, because I'm kind of Patty in real life, and I'm kind of Patty in Garrett's real life. So it was one of those things where I was able to be me on camera and in his life, and it was amazing being able to do it with Tuc. And so, you know, I've heard this story prior to it coming alive on screen. So to see it unfold and the talent that's attached, and to see the people who have responded to it in such a positive way has really brought tears to my eyes over and over again. And as I stated to Gary, I am so proud of you, because I remember us talking about it, and I remember you going through it. I think you were either in Brazil, Portugal, one of these places. You was in the world somewhere. And I was just like, what are you doing? He was like, I'm writing a screenplay. And I was like, get it together and write it. We got to get this thing done. And look at it. He did it. So I'm very proud of you. And he picked me. But he made me audition, you guys. Over
I did.
and over
no, you weren't
again.
Gonna get the, no, you weren't going to get the role just because of who you are. You had to prove yourself.
Clearly. Sorry, I had to pick him up because he was going to start barking.
So is the key to writing a great screenplay is to go get dick down in Portugal?
Well, I was in Spain and spent the entire time in the hotel writing this. So
I bet you were.
Yes,
so Raymond, are you ready to go? Like, where are we going? Because apparently we need to get dick down.
That's cute. Okay, yeah. Well, you know what Garrett just said, that reminds me of the character on And Just Like That, the guy from London who comes to New York, but he just writes in New York. He doesn't ever leave the apartment, which is so weird to be somewhere like that and do that. But okay, anyway. Yeah, so honestly, I came to this project via Ozzy, our director of photography. And thank you, Ozzy. We worked together on another film, and he was like, hey, there's this role that has like 7 scenes, but it's only on the phone. And then he just referred me, and literally I think it took a phone call and a day, and then I was all of a sudden on set like within a 24-hour period, maybe. And thanks to Tuc, like I think this has been said before, that I know Garrett said this, Tuc is very collaborative on set, and I know he was with the script and Garrett, and so that's kind of how it was with Deborah. You know, we were in a room. Tuc was like, hey, I want to cut this, and this. What if we change this? We ran it by Garrett, you know. And then originally, even though I was on the phone, I was going to be like earpiece in a closet, you know, kind of like I would be in a booth, but that didn't work out so well. So I feel like the relationship of these characters and the, not just a voiceover, I was right there kind of, on the other side of the wall. We could feel each other's energy. We could hear each other breathe or cough and like communicate in between takes or scenes or whatever. So I felt that brought a more real feel to those phone conversations when Garrett wasn't going to shoot a balcony scene of me visiting or something. So and then I just had fun playing. I know Deborah is written after Garrett's real sister. I did meet her at this screening in San Diego, but for me, like, I hate the phone, so it's kind of ironic that I was playing a character on the phone. I'm not the best at picking up the phone and having long conversations, so it was fun to kind of dive into that and hear from Garrett that is what he does with his sister every day, or like every day he makes a smoothie, he talks on the phone to his sister. So I thought that was interesting and fun and kind of I don't know. I am the person that like maybe my mom calls for advice, and I'm like the reverse parent role or something. So that's been I don't do that much anymore, but that was always the pattern. So I almost felt like with Deborah, it wasn't a mothering role per se, but it was. I definitely felt like I was that confidant, voice of reason, and maybe not as sassy as Patty's character, but a bit get it together. You've done this. Let's get through this anxiety rut, or let's get through this, addictive pattern to get to what you need to do, and always reminding him about Krista. It was a fun role. I'm not going to lie. It was fun. Even though it was just on the phone.
I got a question for Tuc. Tuc, can you tell me a little bit about this process? I mean, how does this process of what Robert's going through affect him?
Well, I think he gets to a point in his life where he was in a relationship for a number of years with Adam's character, Christopher, and Christopher just up and left, and that really blindsided him. And so he spent the last handful of years dating guys off the apps, and with not much success. And it seems like guys keep breaking up with him. And I think Robert thinks, well, wait a second. I think I'm a catch. Why is everybody breaking up with me? What's wrong with me? Surely it's not me. Is it just me? So he gets this idea when he's having lunch with Keanu's character. I'm going to go interview all of them.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't think I'd be brave enough to do that. And if I was, I don't think I would enter the arena appropriately. I think I would enter it wanting to be understood rather than trying to understand. I would go in and I would want them to listen to me. Okay. And I think that's initially kind of what he does. He's not very good at doing this initially. And part of the collaboration with Garrett, I kept wanting to fix Robert in the rewrites. And Garrett was smart enough to say, no, we're not going to, you can't fix him in the rewrites. We have to fix him on screen. And he was right. He was absolutely right. And Robert does get better at it, and he does calm down a little bit. And there are several themes that do keep coming up. And I think, you sort of watch the arc of this guy learning in real time. And, when you get these six guys, I don't know why. I thought there were nine. Weren't there nine? There's six guys?
Six exes and one current.
You bring in six hot dudes and you're like, oh, well, maybe it is me, because these guys all seem like they've got something going for them. So it was a sort of a lesson in maturity.
Okay.
And Jim, the funny part is when they first brought Tuc to me as an idea, I'm like, I don't think this is going to work. And they're like, why? I'm like, who would leave Tuc? They'd be crazy.
Plenty have.
One of the things that I picked up on, I guess once you reach a certain age and you look back at relationships, it feels like all of us like kind of wonder, what happened? How did it feel? Was it my fault? Different? I mean, can one of you sort of talk about that aspect of this and maybe how you related to this?
I mean, I think that when I watch the movie, watching the movie with a queer audience is
Yeah.
so different than watching it with a straight audience. I sort of had that experience in New York last week, and there was just like a lot of hms and haws, and it was very thought provoking. I thought the way the words that he used to tell the story, I could just kind of feel the audience. Really relating to what was happening. There's a lot of things that get thrown into gay relationships as a whirlwind of, trying to be someone that you think you need to be, trying to please someone else. And I always feel like when you get out of a relationship, you're always better, right? And the relationship doesn't end. You're better for the next one. I mean, that's kind of what I thought about Tuck's character, hopefully in the end there.
Anyone else?
I just think.
Adam, I want to hear from you. On this.
I was timing you felt me coming on. I think like a lot of, like in my experience, we learn our boundaries and what we'll put up with and what we won't put up with through, trial and error in a way. And I know that I had to go through a lot of, like I said earlier, my own crap and like date that. Say sometimes you date your father or a version of your father in this when you're a gay man, because there is a version of my father that was this way of like loving but put you down and you were never enough. And it's like you play out those things in these relationships as you're searching, if you're soul searching and if you're, say, in therapy or not aware of this stuff enough, then you realize, wow, that was a pattern and I'm doing it again over and over again, and I need to break this. I need to work on myself, and it is a cliche, but it's true. You have to love yourself first and fill that part that's missing in yourself to find love, and then you find love and you've worked out those things and there's still new challenges each time. So it's an interesting way, I think, especially for the LGBTQ community, to see a movie like this where a man, this lead character, Robert, is dissecting his love life and trying to figure out, at first, what did they do to me? And what's the pattern here? And then he realizes this beautiful lesson in the end. And I think it's done really well. And I think, like Tuc said, and Garrett admits himself, it grew in such a beautiful, organic way because of the collaboration and because of the collaboration with Tuc and the other actors. And yeah.
Okay. Good. I have to ask Ozzy, I want to ask you briefly a little bit about obviously filming here in the area, but Ozzy, this is a great looking film, but sort of talk to me a little bit about your approach to making this.
Hi, thanks, Jim. Garrett and I's worlds are really small when you think of it. Garrett's mentioned the story several times. Garrett was selling a house. I bought the house.
Okay.
Then I asked him if he knew certain celebrities, and he said he did. And I said, "Oh, I'm working with this one right, with this comedian right now." And we were connected in so many different ways. Come last December, he reached out to me, asked me if I was also a cinematographer, because I'm mostly a camera operator and a Steadicam operator on a lot of the bigger features. And I said yes. He sent me a script. I read it that night. We met very shortly after, went through it. I loved the script. I loved the story. It meant something to me, and I think it would mean people could relate to it no matter what side of LGBT they are, so I loved the script. I loved the story. I laughed when I had to laugh. I cried when I had to cry. It really pulled all the strings perfectly, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I was like, oh wow, he's a fantastic writer. This is great. We got together and put it together very quickly, because from our sit down and reading the script in December, I believe it was very early December, first week of December, second week of January, we were shooting.
Wow.
And it went very well. And then the cast that he put together really brought it home. It was fantastic to work with everybody in the picture. The look of the film, I definitely was happy to read in the script that we were going to be doing, without giving too much away to the audience that might not have watched it yet, that we were going back and showing a little bit of each person's relationship. Yeah. I loved the challenge of shooting the relationship scene, both the interview and the flashback with Ray. That was really fun. And then I got to play a little bit further part by doing actually doing the Google's voice in English and in Spanish in the film. So it was great. But I love the way it came out. I'm really proud of it. It came together very well. I've watched it with Garrett several times, even here at my house, Garrett's old house, and yeah, it hits everything that has to hit. And watching it at the premiere on the West Coast, I can hear the audience move with all the emotions that we're going through in the movie. So I'm very proud of it.
Obviously, some of you live in this area. Others of you don't. But for those of you who were visiting, can you talk a little bit about filming in this area?
Well, everything was burning in LA when we were shooting this, and I felt like really lucky to go to this bubble by the lake, which, I mean, I'd never seen anything like it. I didn't know it existed. So I felt like I just kind of got dropped into the universe of the world. It was beautiful. It was so calming and relaxing. And it was nice to be on location and just be able to walk down to the lake and breathe for a second. So thank you, Atlanta.
We love you, Ray.
Thomas, have you filmed locally before?
Thomas?
Hi. No, I have not actually. I'd been to Atlanta before. I did a convention there or something like a decade plus ago, and I'd hung out with some friends who were doing shows out there. But no, I'd never actually shot anything out there myself, which is kind of weird. And yeah, I mean, I was only there for I think like 48 hours or so. It was very fast in and out. But yeah, it was a great time, and kind of like what Ray said, it was really quiet, and everything could kind of just go away, and you could just focus on the scene at hand. It was really nice.
I've shot a couple projects in the early days of Atlanta becoming the new Hollywood, and I think Atlanta really had to scramble to find crew members and had to import a lot of crew members. But since the birth of Little Hollywood in Atlanta and this production, the crew in Atlanta was on par, if not better than a lot of the crews that I've worked with in New York and LA. I think because there's still an urge, a necessity just to show, hey, look what we can do. And they can really do it. And Garrett said this is going to be a 9-day shoot. And I thought there's no way we're going to shoot this movie in 9 days. You're bananas. And we ended up shooting it in 8 days, and we didn't know what to do on the 9th day.
We had a snow day.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask one last question. Can you all talk about the importance of having queer themes in your work and telling stories like this, especially at a time when there's such uncertainty in our country and people are literally trying to erase us?
Okay, it was quiet long enough that I'm going to jump in. I think you're right. This is a time when there's so much separation, and I think we need to come together. Having the opportunity to play Santi and have him be this undocumented immigrant and show his story has allowed me to take a big piece of my heart and put it out there. And I don't really get the opportunity to do that often. I'm always a drug dealer or a gangbanger or someone's best friend, and I think it's important to be able to take the heart and the experiences that I've gained as a gay man and put them out there. So I think I encourage anybody who's watching this interview to make their stories because we did, and we didn't have a lot of money, and we made a beautiful film that has moved a lot of people, and we need people to do that. So step up to the plate, people. Make more stories.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think it was definitely needed. It's actually also very perfect in timing. I would agree with you that I didn't even think about it, that you're being a gay man and an immigrant. You kind of covered all the bases there. But, at the end of the day, love is love. I have, where we live in, this country was built on diversity, and whatever that means to you, whether that's diverse in the way that you think, you believe, speak, love, all the things. And I think too often, as of late, I know too often, there's been a move to make everything the same. And what makes America great is that we're different. And I like the fact that when you have a pot of gumbo, it's all the different meats and all the different sauces and the peppers and all things. I like being the gumbo, the pepper in the gumbo. And I think that we all should just really, because I'm a little spice, I think we should really look at what's happening and not only tell our stories, but also take a stance. Because if we don't, we'll be all one of the same. And that makes a boring gumbo.
And I can tell you this from a distribution standpoint, now that we're just starting these conversations, I'm hearing that distributors are now starting to not want to touch trans movies, or they're starting to feel a little bit more nervous about LGBTQ, that it's going, and you're just like, these are stories. This is what we're supposed to do. And, if I make this story, we need you to step up to the plate and distribute it and make sure this story can get heard. And, that'll be an issue. They're trying to silence voices all the way around. And I hope they don't.
Silencing voices. They are. When they're, yeah, they are. It's not a try. They are. And there are people and organizations who are responding out of fear and the pressure. And it's very sad. And it's actually quite scary. I have a friend that wrote to me recently. She lives in South Africa. She was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "No, we're being held captive by terrorists. We're not okay." We're not okay. But I encourage you all to continue to wave your rainbow and just speak up and tell your story, period.
And Jim, we need you. Don't.
And we need you all as well to continue to tell these stories and to be upfront and thank you all again. The film is Exit Interviews. It's a centerpiece screening for Out on Film, making its Southeastern debut. It screens Friday, September the 26th at 9 o'clock in the Midtown Art Cinema. We'll have Garrett, a lot of the cast there. Garrett, Tuc, Thomas, Nick, Chad, Ozzy, Raymond, Adam, Summer, Kiana. It has been such a pleasure talking to you all today. I'm so proud of this film and thank you all for sharing it with us. And I cannot wait to share this with Atlanta.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. And thank you, cast. I mean, I love having all of you on here. This was wonderful.
Yeah, this is amazing. This was sort of our Zoom interview weekend, and I had, we had I've never had a cast like this. So thank you all so much for your support. I cannot.
Thank you, Jim.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
And congrats on the best ensemble to everybody, and Garrett for best writing at the last one.
Absolutely. Tuc, you look great.